So here's the herringbone I posted yesterday. I figured I would show you guys real quick how I did it. So I just start with my striping tape, press it down real good, take my base and try to carefully put it on just the bottom section that's blocked off. And after I get my base on, I'm going to use just a little baby spoon and I'm going to sprinkle my color onto the wet base. Dip my finger over, get off that extra powder. Then I'll use my soft fluffy brush to brush it off really well and then pull the tape off. Now, as you can see, I went over the tape a little bit here, so I'm using my cuticle pusher to try to scrape some of that off. But if you can't, it'll be covered up by your other colors. So then I get my next piece of striping tape and I do my next section, press it down really well, do the same thing, add the base to just the blocked off section, use my spoon, sprinkle my powder over, get off the excess powder, brush it off, and then I pull the tape off. And then if you have any little extra pieces, you can try to scrape them off before it sets all the way. Brush it really good. And then get more striping tape. Do my next section. So it's not nearly as complicated as it looks. The white color I did have to do 2 layers of because it was a little more sheer than the Nerd Nails colors. So I just use my spoon, sprinkle it on, tap it off, brush it off. And I'm not going to pull the tape off yet because I'm going to do a second layer on the white one. And you can see that I kind of overlapped the blue a little bit, so I'll go back and fix that at the end. Doing this on my nail was a lot harder than doing it on that swatch, you guys. Brush that off really good. Pull the tape off. Now, if you have, painter's tape or washi tape, you could use that and it would eliminate some of this overlapping. That's just because the striping tape was so skinny that I was having issues not going over the tape. But as you can see, it's being covered up by the other colors, so I wasn't worrying about it too much. And I do my next section. Put my base down. Get my spoon. Sprinkle my color. Brush it off. And pull the tape off. I always brush it before I pull the tape off and then brush it again after I pull the tape off. Sorry that I went out of frame here. Like I said, I am not a video making expert. It's definitely something I want to practice on. But you're just going to repeat this pattern the whole way down your nail. I have tips on, so because I knew it would be a little more complicated to do it on super shorties. So I did my tips and my clear and my peel base before I did this. And then get my tape for my next section. You can see it developed a pretty nice pattern. I do feel like the more contrast you have between your colors, the easier it is to see the pattern. And then since this is the white, I have to do 2 dips of this one. And a tip that I found helpful, if your nails are long enough that you can make your blocked off sections about as wide as your brush, that makes it a lot easier to stay in the lines. And then this last section, I'm just going to fill in that little tip area. I'm not going to use any tape. Finish it off with my blue, and my lids got switched around on my Nerd Nails jars, so I know that it says this is Warp 9, but it is actually Slow to Impulse. Warp 9 is the color that's on my other fingers. It's a little more glittery. And then I'm going to go back in and just freehand cover up that little area of white that was overlapping onto the blue. And then once I brush that off really well, I'm going to cover with my 2 dips of clear, activate, file shape